I have so many thoughts on this movie. I have so many thoughts on the audience watching this movie. I have so many thoughts on this movie. What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And we're going to wade into Truth and Treason. This is a 2025 movie from Angel Studios, which does have audio description from International Digital Center, written by Stephen Christopher and narrated by Frankie Corzo. I hope I remembered that correctly. If not, I just credited the wrong people, but I got the company right. And this is based on a true story. Apparently, there was a documentary some 20 years ago about this guy, but Helmut, Hamut, I don't know, depending on your accent, was a young man in Nazi Germany who made history for being the youngest German to ever be executed by the Nazi regime for standing up to them. So this is based on a true story. I don't want to get into the weeds of every truth and treason moment of it, but it's just a powerful World War II story about a young man who does the right thing at the right time while everybody else is doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. He has a couple of other friends that stand with him, but for the most part, there's a lot of resistance around him. He finds some allies and sympathy along the way. He finds some people who support him and like him, but don't really know what he's up into. They don't really know what he's doing. And eventually he catches, like, the Nazi party catches wind of this, and they have to end his, like, leafleting. Uh, he gets, like, a printing press, and he types out stuff and spreads propaganda. And he he gets a shortwave radio or whatever that picks up signals being sent out from all of the neighboring allied countries. So he's getting, instead of having an echo chamber of information, he listens to the other news sources and gets other opinions. This movie's releasing in 2025. So I have so many thoughts about this, about the people who are going into the theater and they're sitting there watching this. And now I'm sitting here thinking in 2026, where this movie's at, and Angel Studios. Everything sort of becomes a product of the time in which it's released. So for people who are like, oh, one battle after another is a political statement, it's like, it's really hard not to take Truth and Treason for the same level, for the same political statement. When you drop a film that has messaging about having a dictator who is needlessly leading you into war and talking about the sycophants that follow him into the war, and how the hero of the movie is a kid who listens to other news sources and has the faith to stand up to that uh, rude dictator man and have the courage to do so. Things don't work out well for him, admittedly, except he did get a movie made about him by Angel Studios in 2025, so hey, things are looking up. But he stands by his beliefs and his faith, and he doesn't let that shake, and he stands up to this Nazi regime that history has not looked fondly upon. And I'm sitting here thinking, is Angel Studios trying to send a message quietly to what its target demographic likely is? Because I think methinks Angel Studios might be um maybe they are trying to send messaging out, and they're trying to get it, like, covertly. Because when you think about Sound of Freedom, it got everybody, like, riled up about, child trafficking. And now we're at a point where the Epstein files haven't been fully released. And there are still some people who are really angry about the Epstein files and the belief that we should be getting them full release. And for some reason, that seems like a leftist liberal idea, concept ideology. But when you look at a film like Sound of Freedom, where did it play well with? What kind of audience did it play well with? What is Angel Studios, a Christian label, trying to send messaging to? And then you look at a film like Truth and Treason, which is set during wartime with a leader who history does not look fondly upon, but yet at the time, a lot of people were like, "Oh, dude, this guy's awesome. It's fucking cool as shit, man." And what's he doing? He's taking people from their homes. He's putting them into concentration camps. I mean, the parallels couldn't be more fucking stark right now, and like just exact on the nose. And I said I had a lot of thoughts. So I think it's really hard for these people who come up and watch Truth and Treason to sit there and to not think about, is it possible that this has any sort of relevance in today's society? And now I'm starting to look at the slate of films from Angel Studios, and I'm like, do I need to analyze Angel Studios more? Are they trying to tell us something? Maybe Angel Studios is the resistance. I don't know. And they're trying to like covertly, um, it's sort of like when you play a record backwards and it has a message for you. It feels like that. It feels like they're trying to like subtly push people in the right direction and be like, hey, guess what? You see this movie here? Why don't you watch it? You're gonna feel like, oh man, yeah, and he did it, and he stood by his beliefs. Oh my God, and he believed in Jesus too. Look at that guy. Look at that kid. He's great. Look what he stood up for. He stood up against that guy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, um, yeah, I clocked Truth and Treason for being. I know people can be like, you can see whatever you want in these movies, and it's like, I think there's something to this though, because Sound of Freedom really got people like riled up about child sex trafficking, and look at where the Epstein files are, and there's still a percentage of the population coming out of the right who still want those Epstein files. So if Truth and Treason can create the same sort of movement as Sound of Freedom, kudos. Uh, I mean, there's a reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene is no longer part of the House of Representatives. When you go from somebody who's strongly MAGA to somebody who's just vanished from the political party because they stood by the Sound of Freedom aspect of making sure to get all of the predators out. And for some reason, that ended up being in conflict with the rest of their party. Um, yeah, it's weird, but I think Angel Studios might be trying to covertly send messages to a very target demographic, the kind of demographic that shows up for Angel Studios films. I show up for everything because I just review movies, but I'm endlessly entertained by this. I thought this was for like taking that out of the equation, taking the timing of it out, taking the whole like, oh, let's put this movie out. Oh, we have to make this story right now today. We have to do this story. um, it's a solid World War II movie. It's not super violent, like because it's more about the uprising at the time and pushing back against the party and like good Germans, right? Um, it does slightly brush what was happening to the Jewish population because the catalyst for this whole thing is that Helmut's best friend is Jewish and is taken and sent to a Nazi death camp. So that's what causes him, that's what inspires him in this film to stand up and tell the truth. It's also the fact that he gets a shortwave radio and can actually hear other people's opinions. But his heart is in the right place from that point on because he's mad at the Nazi party for taking his friend. So, um, yeah, I think it's interesting. I think it's intriguing, and there are little ways that they work in the subtlety, and also in this day and age when anti-Semitism is like on a spectrum. It's the best way I can say it. First of all, I'm not. You should never be. But it feels like it's on a spectrum where we don't know where to be with it. Like there are some people who are like, "Ooh, let's pro-Israel, whatever," because the big guy is right. The big guy's pro-Israel, so we should be pro-Israel. And again, like I'm saying with this movie, some people just sycophantly follow all the way. So then there are people who take it the other direction and feel like they have to course correct and drive their cars into synagogues. So I, how we feel about a group of people, even in 2026, seems to be on a very wide spectrum. And likely these people are coming from sort of the same place. These people likely all voted the same way. And they're having problems. The thoughts in their heads are in conflict, and they don't know how to handle this. And I think that's what's interesting about a film like Truth and Treason is if you sit down and really analyze it and pick it apart and try to apply it in today's society, where are we right now? Even more so now, actually. This film released, I mean, we'd gotten into some trouble, but now if you watch it, we're in like a full scale war with Iran. So it's like, I, yeah, it's really hard to look at this movie and not see the parallels that just didn't exist in Biden's administration. It's really hard to like say if this is released in Biden's. We weren't at war during Biden's. It's really hard to say that. I mean, like you could use the truth aspect of it and be like, "See, we're standing up and we're telling the truth against." And you lack the war aspect of it, though. You lack the sending of troops out to die, and you lack the. He wasn't rounding people up and putting them into camps, which is what's happening. We have all of these camps for migrants that we keep building and shoving people into, and guess what? Some of them are dying in there. So the parallels are much more drawn to Trump. Should hate this movie. Like Trump, he should be bothered by this movie because it's not in his favor and it draws too many parallels and makes people look around them and go, huh, look at the little Christian boy that stood up for his rights and his beliefs against an oppressive. Oh shit. So, um, interestingly, Truth and Treason was on it didn't get nominated, but it was on the short list for Best Original Score. And I knew that going in. And I thought that was interesting. So I thought I'd be like, oh, let's pay more attention to the score. It's all right. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I mean, it didn't really like pop or stand out to me, so I don't know how it made the cut of the 15. I don't know how it stood out to enough. But then again, they also shortlisted Diane Warren. Like her documentary made the shortlist too. So I don't know. They were just this is probably a composer who's done some stuff before and they saw a name and they're like, ooh, I like him. Box checked. So acting is fine. It's actually a solid movie. Probably even if it had released years earlier during the Biden administration, I wouldn't have laughed and thought it was funny to draw the parallels, but um, I would still probably give it a fresh. So I just find it incredibly amusing, and now I'm wondering, like, what is Angel Studios' agenda in life? What are their hopes and dreams for the future? Um, so I wish they would put audio description on their streaming service, though. That's the problem, is that oftentimes they commission audio description and they're not very good about making sure that it gets heard again. Like, it does not really follow to streaming, it doesn't really follow on to video on demand, it doesn't really go anywhere. It's very spotty to the point where they created audio description for Sound of Freedom in theaters, but then when it dropped, it went to Amazon, and then Amazon had to make this crappy TTS track for it, text to speech. And because I guess Angel wouldn't provide them with the track, and they realized Sound of Freedom was too big to not have audio description, so Amazon just threw one of their basic TTS tracks on it. So, I mean, they could do better at that, but this movie's fine. Is it the greatest war propaganda movie that you're ever gonna see? No, but it's a solid story worth telling. It kind of ends on a, well, it does end. I guess it kind of ends on a, no, it ends on a very depressing note. I mean, I was actually kind of surprised. I was like, wait, are we going there? It's an Angel Studios, a Christian studio. And I mean, what's, I don't want to spoil it, but what's funny is, from my perspective as a blind person, there's something that happens, and as it's happening, then the narrator comes in with cut to black, and I'm like, we're cutting something else. But uh, the timing of cut to black was just perfect. So yes, yeah, you should see Truth and Treason, and not just because of like the politics or whatever, just because it is a good movie. Like regardless, like you could wait. Like if you're like, I hate you. You clearly you're leftist, and I disagree with you and everything. And why are you on here? If you feel that way, then just wait. Wait until he's not in office anymore, and you don't have to feel bad about it. And you can watch Truth and Treason. Still a good movie. Is it a great movie? No, it's not a great movie. It's not like, I don't know, Saving Private Ryan or Zone of Interest or some of the war movies that have really hit hard. It's not one of those, but it is. There is like a sub tier below that of really good war movies that have done a pretty decent job of continuing to tell stories in and around World War II, and this is in that block. It's hard to make a bad. You really have to be incompetent to make a bad World War II movie, because inherently, like, we just want to see like Nazis lose, get their asses kicked. Like we just, it's an aspect. That's why, I mean, Glorious Bastards was fun for a reason, but so it's hard to make a bad film regarding this topic. But yeah, I'll give Truth and Treason. I'm gonna give it like a 7.8 out of 10. I thought it was worth my time, and I think it's worth your time. It's about 2 hours, but these types of movies are typically that long. It takes a while to build, and you get to see the story. And people who equate Christian cinema with like being totally family friendly and inoffensive should probably check their kids at the door for this one under a certain age, because there's some stuff having to do with some torture and stuff in here that they do that I don't know if you'd want your little kids watching it or not. It depends on your parenting skills, but the film doesn't have sex. Like that's the thing that's missing from the movie. So if that's your hard line and you don't care about violence, then by all means. But there is a little bit of some torture-ish violence in here. Anywho, that's it. Thank you for watching this review of Truth and Treason, and it's honest. This is unfiltered. I'm not gonna hide my bias. I could have tried and just given you a super glowing positive review of Truth and Treason while knowing the messaging that would come across. You should see Truth and Treason. I'm not going to tell you why, except it's very good. But no. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the other side.